I gave Kanye this song to get on called I Got Money with me and Tip. They were supposed to be on the Recession. Me and Tip done our verses. Kanye sent the song back. It's a totally different song.
Yeah, man.
It got the,
so were you trying to get Kanye on?
Yeah, he changed the whole beat. So now I'm like, bro, this is a whole different song. I can't do nothing with it. 6 months go by. He called me. I'm in L.A. He's like, yo, pull up on me at the studio. He's like, yeah, you remember that song I was supposed to get on? I was like, yeah. And he played it for me. Right?
Yeah, wait till I get my money right.
I'm like, right.
Big boy in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this.
Oh, my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeezy Jenkins in the neighborhood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jeezy, welcome back to the neighborhood, bro.
Yes.
Hey, man, another slash. Author.
Author,
bro.
Yeah.
How crazy is that for you, man?
I mean, it's something that I really wanted to do during the pandemic. I had the time to get started on it, but what I realized into it early though is it was very therapeutic.
Dude, I was gonna ask you that just like that same words, bro.
Yep.
It was therapeutic for you.
Yeah. So,
and did you know that you were living a book?
I when you see where I came from. And it was even crazy for me to go back to the day one and go to where I was at in present time. It was a real journey. And that's why I wrote the book. That's why I call it Adversity for Sale, because a lot of people believe that success is just success. But success is also your losses and your failures.
Yeah, man.
Because that's where the data, that's where the most information is at, right?
That's where you learn the most, bro.
Right. And for me, it was just like putting it in book form, because I don't think that there's, especially for us, I don't think that there's like one way to do something. Right? And if you read a Bill Gates book, it might not resonate with you like it should, because he's coming from a different perspective. This book is for people that's coming from my perspective. And my perspective is a real everyday man trying to figure it out. I don't have a college education. I didn't have all these resources. I got to figure out life, right?
Why write the book? You know how some of us, it's like, man, we get in, and not some of us, but people, they get in a position and say, man, I look successful. I feel successful. I made it away. You know, why share so much of you and share the ups and downs, the pitfalls?
Well, it's your obligation.
Yeah.
It's your obligation. I'm just like you with radio. There's always going to be some younger cats coming up that want to know what you went through. And even if you had sat down and had a conversation with them and told them some of the things you went through, it would resonate with them, because they're going through that same thing. Yeah. Right? So that information and that knowledge to them is going to be life-changing. And for me, I feel like I'm not the most successful person in the world, but I know that my success is great for me from where I came from.
Right.
So I want to share that, because, I live by the code of live full, die empty, right? You just want to share. You share, and that's your obligation. That's how I get my fulfillment, by the way.
Did you have that growing up too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's how I learned through music. Like, the Tupacs and all those guys, he was sharing.
Right.
He was sharing with us. Like, I didn't have no big homies that had morals and values, or no uncles that had morals and values. They was working in factories. They were trying to figure their life out. So they weren't instilling like life lessons in me and showing me that you have to stand for something. That's what I got from Pac.
Did you hear that early? You know how sometimes it's almost like J.O. Felony said it. I can give it to you, but what you gonna do with it?
Right.
And there's sometimes we'll listen to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then down the road, when we get a few more candles blown out, we like, that's what that meant.
What the thing is, I think you have to be, the timing is a big part of it. But if you really look at it, like with social media and the way things are changing in the world, it's like we all want information. Because even in the book, I talk about, all these years I was dealing with depression and survivor's remorse. I didn't know what depression was. I thought this is just the way I feel because I was coming from somewhere.
Right.
And I didn't know what
and it comes with it.
Right. And I didn't know what trauma was. I didn't know that I was putting all this stuff behind me and trying to get through it, but it was affecting my adulthood. So I had to go back and start dealing with these things because I didn't have the verbiage for it.
Yeah.
But that's what social media did. It just opened up the floodgates on the information.
And we also come from an era and cut from a cloth with so many others are, man, is that, you pull up your bootstraps, you get through it. You don't talk about it. This is what we do. Yeah.
But I mean, I've been there, and the thing about it is, where we come from is our big homie, this, that. I started learning how you really got to get mentors. You have to get people that you can process these things with, right? Because if you give any information, it could be life-changing for you, which is life-changing for your legacy, which is life-changing for your family, which is life-changing for anybody come behind you. And it's almost like I live by the bootstrap. And nobody tied a tighter bootstrap than me.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? And nobody did that. And that was half the problem because I was putting things in the back of my mind and not dealing with them. And then when they start coming out of my adult life, I'm like, yo. And that's where the adversity come from because it's like, now I'm mad at the world.
Right.
The world ain't did nothing to me. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, it's where do you place that anger too? And plus, you in a position, and I'm pretty sure it had been for the longest, man, where not only did you have to look out for you, you had to be everything to everybody else.
But that's what I realized too, that I was leading people the wrong way. That was the reality. I was doing what I knew, but then when I started to go outside of my comfort zone and get a better perspective, I'm like, oh well, I'm using my power for evil. I got to figure this out.
Right.
And as I started to switch my lanes, I started to see that people started straying away because that path no longer served them. But as they started to shed, I started to get only quality people. I'm starting to get people that are coming around that they have, the things that they went through, and they're telling, hey, you ever thought about, talking to a therapist? I'm like, why would I do that?
Yeah, man.
You crazy?
Yeah, yeah. And that's where we come from. We come from head doctor, shrink, crazy.
Right.
I'm not going to talk to anyone.
Right.
And now you see, geez, the dialogue now is so healthy and so open.
Right.
And then when people can hear you talk about it, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, wherever we jumped on, whatever we call you, Snowman, whatever Jeezy, Young Jeezy, whatever, there was a look and a persona that was real, but we don't know the person. You know what I'm saying? And when you start to figure out the person, that's why I love when I see people, being able to blow out more candles when they get their gray hair, whatever it may be, because there is something that comes with that so-called age too.
Yeah, but it's a lot of wisdom, and then it's also a lot of quality of life. You know what I'm saying? Because I was telling somebody that the other day, it's like when you're a black man, black or brown man, and you get to a certain age, nobody care about you no more.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
If it ain't your family, nobody in the world cares that you succeed or that you're happy or that you're healthy or you're any of them things, right? So you have to do that yourself. You have to set yourself up. And once I started to see, like, I got to think about my 20-year plan. I got to think, how do I want to retire?
Did you look at that before?
Yeah, because a lot of people didn't know that,
Because you own Georgia, right? Don't you own pretty much
Atlanta?
Yeah, Atlanta. Yeah, you own Atlanta.
I do pretty good in real estate in Atlanta.
You always kind of looked, okay, let's say if you had a 5-year plan, right? Is your 5-year vision different now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what it was like music is my talent, right? But business has always been my passion. I always wanted to be respected as a business. I always saw myself in a 3-piece suit, plain Jane watch, wedding band, very debonair. I could talk the talk. I could like Jane St. Patrick. That was me, in a nutshell. And that was always my vision of myself. So I had to align, my actions with that.
But how do you see that vision when we almost put you in a box?
Because the box, and I'm gonna tell you the craziest thing, like my guy TD Jakes told me. I said, man, your business is astute. He looked at me and said, see, the problem was you thought I was just a preacher.
Right.
You never knew that I was a businessman. So people thought I was an artist. They didn't know that I was somebody on a whole different path that understood that I couldn't walk from the streets into the boardroom. I wanted to be in the boardroom. Right. So music was the vehicle to do so. Because that's the only thing I ever equated with business, because these guys that we saw back then, the Suge Knights, the Cash Moneys, all them guys, they was the businessmen. We didn't see Fortune 500 companies. These were the guys I respected and I associated with business. And when I started to see that, I was like, I got to do something there. So I love music, so that was easy for me to get into. But my eye was on a bigger vision, which was business, which was being in a place where I control the chips. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
I
sir.
have a team. I have employees. I'm able to make moves and do these things. And that's what it's really about, because when you come from where we come from, evolution is something that people don't really want to see you do.
Right.
They want to see you be like, if you Ice Cube, you need to stay
you need
right
to
there.
Stay right here. Like, that's when people say, I miss the old. Like, what do you mean?
I'd be like,
it's all me.
I'd be like, me too, but you won't see him.
Right, man. Yeah, people love to compare you to you.
And I tell people all the time, they be like, yo, I remember you used to wear 20 chains, but now I got 40 buildings. What we talking about?
Right.
Like, it ain't the same thing, bro. It's like, that's not even my goal in life. Like, I don't even get fulfillment out of those things. It's more so, what can I do in this world, or how can I set you know, me and my team up for this, and okay, I want to share my story. That's why I'm writing the book, right? Because I knew that music, when you write records, you know, you only got 3 minutes to tell the story.
Yeah.
This was a whole different thing. And reading because I did the audio book as well. So reading the audio book, you know, I had to read it back.
Right.
You know, I went through all those emotions. I was happy. I was sad.
Yeah, man.
I was angry. I was frustrated. Like, I'm reading my book. And
Did you almost have to back away from it sometimes too?
Yeah,
you
a couple times.
Yeah. Because when I wrote my book, bro, I was like, there was times I knew I was going to write it, but there were times when I had to back away and like, oh man, I need a little bit.
Yeah.
Or were you concerned sometimes with even the layers too? Like, damn, yep, I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, it was well, you know, statute of limitations was like
right. Oh yeah.
So I could say some things I never really said and be blunt about it, right? Because I never really told people like this is what I was doing and this is how I was doing it, and I was, you know, you rap about it. It sounds cool, but you know, you can't put that together in the courtroom.
Yeah.
But these are your words, right? And for me, the layers were a lot of the people I lost. If I go through that book, I probably lost 40, 50 homeboys. Damn. You know what I'm saying? Even as grown men, you know, up until a couple months ago, I just lost one of my guys. There was a businessman and a family man, and he still ended up getting caught up in the crossfire and getting murdered. And that just kind of, that hit hard too, but I know that feeling because it's all too familiar. But as you reading this stuff, you're going, wow, man, like that really happened to him. And then you sit there and you go to yourself like, you know, because that was my prayer, like, why you letting me skip through all this?
Yeah, man.
Why ain't I in prison?
How did I?
And that's when I started sitting back like, oh, you got a plan for me.
Yeah, man.
You got a plan.
And your gift can be your curse.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So now I gotta really be on top of what I gotta be on, because this is it's bigger than me.
Isn't it great to have that chance though?
Yeah.
Because think about how many times you probably almost lost it.
Oh no, reading the book to myself, like I lost it a lot.
Yeah.
I lost it a lot. I've had it. I had money, lost it. I had position, lost it. I've been on top and then I had to be on the bottom, like and deal with it, right? And ain't nothing worse than a man who's frustrated about his own mistakes that put him in a certain predicament. And then when you out here trying to
like, who do you blame that on?
Right, and you out here trying to take care of your family and your kids off of something that's not even tangible, like meaning like you don't have a diploma. You're not a doctor. You're not a lawyer. You're not a physician. You're not a ball player. You just got ideas. And you got to make this work. So when you fall into a rut, who you gonna call?
Yeah, you know and especially when you the one that everybody else call.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but like, who you gonna call? Right. Because now you have to get in your mind, in your head, and come up with another way to get you back to where you was at and even further beyond. I call it mental GPS. But it's just like, you know, it's almost like being an entrepreneur and coming up with a product. You know, like the guy who made the Ring camera.
Right.
He sold it for $1 billion, but if he goes broke, you think he's gonna be able to make something else like that?
Right.
You got one shot.
Right. So how do you keep this?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I started to understand. My biggest regret was that I didn't get into business earlier, because I was caught up in everything that was going on with music. Because it was like, you know, you had to have the Lamborghinis, you had to have it. So it was like, you know, I get that later. And then
it's
you run
always
into
the this and that. Oh, you gotta have this along with that.
And once I realized, I told my homie the other day, I was going somewhere and went up through my garage. I was looking at cars with my nose turned up, like, ugh, like, I ain't got nowhere to go. Like, where am I drive this stuff at, right?
Yeah.
And you just look at it, and you like, what was so important to me then doesn't really matter now.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy, and it's like, for me, I'd rather be the messenger and let cats know, like, hey, man, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you ever thought about how you want to live when you're 60, 65, I know that sounds far-fetched, but I want to be on an island somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I want to be, you know, I want to be able to put my feet in my sand and walk from my doorstep to here, and then I want to fly to the other side of the world to go live in my lake house.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you think about, and like, why we can't.
Right.
Why you can't.
And the people that you respect, they live like that, but they also set themselves up. And for people that I have respect for, and I look at life like a real game, the guys that I got respect for, and I see how they live, and it's not about just the money they have, it's the quality of life they change for the people around them. It's the Magic Johnsons.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he's changing lives.
Man.
And he's living the life that a normal athlete doesn't live.
Right.
You take Shaq.
Yes, sir.
He's doing stuff that you don't see every day, right? and he's still enjoying his life. Like he was Shaq on the court, but he's still Shaq now.
Yeah, man.
You take TD Jakes.
Yes, sir.
You know, Jakes is out here, you know, buying acres and putting single family houses on there and schools, and
just the move that Tyler Perry just did.
You know what I'm saying? And again, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that you see that this is possible. Like when I seen, you know, Jay-Z and Cash Money doing their thing, that's the only reason that made me go, you know what, I could do this.
Yeah, it's doable.
Yeah, I can do it.
I see them, and they are not any different from me.
And I feel the same way about when I look at these other guys that I respect. I go, you know, that quality of life to me on the other side of life is what's real. Because your front half, you can do the shucking and jive and the hustling. You can do all what you got to do. But it's still going to be the other half of life. And, you know, you got to worry about your health. You got to worry about your mental. You got to worry about your family. You got to worry about all these things. And there's nothing like having that time to just live.
Do you think you could have wrote this book, Adversity for Sale, You Gotta Believe? You think you could have wrote this 5 years ago?
I do not.
Right.
I was not in that space.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then I also had to give myself permission to write it.
That's real.
Yeah, because I was stuck in that world too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I used to be on a tour bus and I would be reading books. People walk by, I throw the book in the side.
You reading?
Yeah, you out there with gang members.
Hey, man,
you reading books.
Perception.
Right. So I don't think I hadn't gave myself permission yet. Mm-hmm. And then also I had to give myself permission to evolve, because I knew that once I started evolving, things around me was going to change, and it changed drastically.
How long do you hold on to what we wanted you to continue to be? Like how long do you say, man, I don't think I'm feeling something different.
Right.
I don't think they ready for that. Because one, it's different because you're not ready to totally surrender.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But then also there is outside influences, and the one thing, man, when you gain, you also lose.
No, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So
in order to become somebody you never been, you got to be somebody you never been.
Yeah.
Right. and for me, I think the last time was when I got locked up in L.A. When I was on that Wiz Khalifa concert, on that Wiz Khalifa tour, and 10 of us in jail, $1 million bill apiece. I got to pay it. It's $10 million.
Yeah.
Right? And now I'm sitting in the county jail, and I'm losing all my endorsements, all my support, everything. And I didn't do anything. I just happened to be on tour. Somebody got killed by my tour bus. They said it was me, and all that went on. And the people that I was depending on to hold me down while I was in there and keep my family, you know, straight, nobody came through. And the minute I got out, I just like, I got to figure my life out, because I can't depend on nobody else, right?
Yeah,
and ain't nobody coming to save you. And that was like I was teetering the line then. And then I just made the decision, and I promise you, hardest thing I ever did in my life, because that was my support system.
Right.
They made me feel like I was who I was, right? And then I started to realize if something pop off anyway, you're going to be the one paying for lawyers, so you might as well handle your business.
Hey, man, and I tell people all the time, it sounds so cliche when you get on the air, on the plane. They tell you secure your mask first. Like, I can't be gasping for air trying to take care of my daughter.
No,
I got to secure my mask first. And I always tell people too, Jeezy, I'm like, man, life, I tell people it's like mathematics.
Yeah.
And I've said this before. I said, man, you probably sit here and let's just take addition. You know what I'm saying? You want to add wisdom. You want to add some years to your life. You're working out, you're eating different, whatever it may be. Then there's multiplication. You probably want to multiply your income, multiply your wisdom, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Division. I got to divide my time between my work, my family, my fans, everything. And then subtraction. Subtraction is the one where it's like I got to subtract all this bullshit. I got to subtract some of these people that hang around with me. I got to subtract, and that one right there, man, when you get those mathematics, you're like, okay.
And another thing, like I went through, and I talk about this in the book as well, like I was going through this survivor's remorse, and, naturally I come from a family that drinks. Like my mother used to drink, my dad drink, he still drink beers when he get up now for breakfast. That's my dad. But I was in this place where I was drinking and smoking so much, trying to self-soothe because I saw it coming. I saw the fact that I was changing, they wasn't changing, and it was like, okay, how's this gonna work? Because these ain't regular people. Like these are
right.
So it ain't like you could just be like, I ain't calling you no more. You know what I mean? So I just started doing things different, and I would just go sit down with, older people and just like, let me try to go to lunch with this guy. And we'll go to lunch and we'll talk about things. He's like, what are you interested in? I'm like, I want to do real estate one day. He's like, you know what, you should meet my friend. And then he introduced your friend, and then I go buy these properties, and then I go on tour, and I come back, and the property's worth 3 times more than I paid for them. And I'm going like, let's just spend all the money. Let's just buy everything we can buy, because now I got to, and he's still my realtor to this day. And it's been about 12 years ago. So now I got this guy. So I'm just starting to meet people that are bringing other people into my life, and I'm just like, I lost everybody, and I was like, down for a long time.
Were you worried about how your peers or people would look at you?
Yeah. And not even that. You like how was I going? And I go with this analogy, like even if I was the best running back in the league, and I got let's just say I'm on the Rams now. I can't bring everybody on the field.
Right.
It doesn't. I could be great at what I do.
And it's crazy because this is the profession, or this is the lifestyle that everybody want to be on the field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nobody that work at that's a cashier at the local grocery store, and your homie say, hey, man, I want to come into the booth with you.
And I never forget, this one guy came up to me about 5 years ago. He's like, man, I'm so glad you figured it out. He said, man, I was in Club Visions, and I tried to get to you because I had this deal I wanted you to do, but I ended up going with such and such, and this is a multi-million-dollar deal. He said, man, I was trying to get to your section, and it was like 100 guys trying to fight me.
Right.
And I'm like, they was blocking the money too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm just like, okay, I gotta really figure out how, and this is the thing, because you think that once the things that are around you don't align with who you say you are, you feel like you're gonna lose something.
Right.
So that's even the people that support you as far as your fan base and everything, because now you don't look like that guy when you come into a room. You know what I'm saying? You used to come in with 100 people, now you coming in with your assistant and one other person, and it kind of looks like, I don't really know. And then people saying that we want the OGs. I'm like, but that guy was crazy, man. Like, you don't want to deal with him all day. And it's just like, but you don't like this better version of myself that I'm becoming. And the crazy thing is, when I started to go in other rooms and really started to, because I did a lot of work on myself.
Yeah,
I was doing a lot of work and just figuring things out. But then when I started to go in the room with people who like to have those type of conversations, I saw how much it excited me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then even when I got into the real estate, I'm a street guy. I'm a hustler. Like, it was the next best thing. You taking bricks and you making money and you buying more bricks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just
what do you own now?
I own a lot. Yeah. And still working on it.
And it's crazy because you say, man, I wish years ago I would have.
Yeah.
And the rear view mirror is a mother effer though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That the rear view mirror. And I do sometimes catch myself and I'm like, damn, but you didn't. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be honest, I don't think I was ready.
Right.
But I wish I could have, because I would be.
Especially with land and homes and everything.
And it was the right time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ride past landmarks now, and you see them building these condominiums. You're going like, man, I used to stand right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I could have bought
this
that dirt
for nothing.
Yes, man.
You know what I'm saying? So there's that, but the thing about life is, you're gonna always have some regrets, but you don't want to die with a lot of them. Right. So I'm happy I got to it when I could. I'm happy that I'm able to share my message, and then I'm happy I didn't have to lose anything to get to the space I'm in, because all that's on my credentials. Everything that I've been through, everybody know I came from the street. Everybody know I've been through the struggle. Everybody know everything's real. But this is on the other side of that now. So I'm doing things that are unorthodox, and I'm doing things that people from my walk of life can't necessarily do without being discriminated on. So I'm giving them the okay as well. Because we love Ice Cube when he was in NWA.
Yeah.
But when you see him, Are You There Yet? You go,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he owns a production company.
And anyone that know it, I could take it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing here.
Right.
And just how many people Cube put on.
Right.
And when you look at Cube and when you talk to Cube, it's still Ice Cube.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And how dare us to continue to put somebody in the box.
But and that's the thing, is just like, if you don't give yourself permission, they're gonna always put you in the box, right? And the thing about culturally for us, and the thing that I see that I be trying to holler at the young guys about, I be like, okay, when you in the box and then you end up in the box, literally, like you end up in prison or whatever you got to go through. Just look at how you taking your generational wealth off the table.
Yeah, man.
Look how you damaging your legacy. Look how, because you fought so hard to get out of the situation you in, and now you even worse off because you're a successful black man, and now you got to sit here.
Yeah, man.
And then all the people that you was employing and all the people that could have had some success just being in your circumference, they don't have that no more. Right? It's all gone. Just because of the decision you made because they put you in the box and you want to stay there. And all the cats that I really love. And one thing that really started hitting me deep, because, I came from the hood, so I lost a lot of homies, right? But they signed up for that.
Right.
So we kind of, hey, put them on a T-shirt. We love you. Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like somebody going to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
There's a chance, right? But when you start seeing these young cats that was like so destined to be great, the Dolphs.
Yeah, man.
The Pop Smokes.
Yes,
it
man.
Just hurt. It hurt different because you like, damn, like you were just there. Like you look at Bankroll Fresh and these guys, you just like, man, Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like he was
like
there.
around what was around the corner.
Right.
And it's crazy, man, because I'm at an age now, Jeezy, where I'm like, if that person would have just made it. Like, if somebody would have heard this interview 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
You talking, if you listen to this, you'd be like, wait, hold on, wait. I'm waiting, what? You would listen to this interview and be like, damn. So you never know what greatness was coming.
Around corner.
I was about to say it, what was around the corner, man.
And even if you take somebody like Nip, like me and Nip was cool in the space, but the one thing I always respected about Nip, and I even took it from him, I'm not even gonna front, like every time I talked to Nip, it was about a book.
Yeah.
That he was reading.
I've had this. Hey, are you up on? Are you up on?
Yeah. He always was trying. And by the way, Nip was the first person to tell me about Bitcoin.
Right.
I thought he was crazy. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, it's this coin and you do. I'm just letting there.
Man,
like,
when he did the marathon as a smart store.
Crazy.
With Idris Sandu, and it was like, oh, you just do this. I'm like, man, yeah, bro. And the greatness that was coming, but that's also watering these seeds too.
Right. And, and that's the thing, but when you put them in the box, us as a culture, you still, because nobody's exempt to what goes on out here in the streets. Like, you're not. I don't care who you are. But, when you get put in a box, you feel like it's your obligation to still, or your responsibility to still do some of these things that people accept you for. And that's what puts you in a different place, because if you don't do those things, you might lose a little bit of your credibility. But then you got to look at the reality of it, because even a lot of things I've done, people are like, nah, that ain't what a street guy would do. Yeah, this is what a business guy would do that came out the streets.
Right.
Not even think about that. You know what I'm saying? So,
and then the first thing they'll do is, if something happened where you was on your keep it real, say, man, he fucked that up.
Oh no, they're gonna say you. It was gonna say you. And by the way, they're gonna laugh.
Yeah,
they're gonna
man.
joke. They're gonna kid. And that's another thing. That's why I say you gotta always give yourself permission. Because if you win, lose, or draw. If you lose, you got the data, right? If you win, so be it. Get ready for the next battle.
Right.
But you got to give yourself permission. So if it doesn't work out the way you want it to work, you're okay with that. Because there was a lot of things that I did and it didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And then I just had to suck it up and be like, well, I learned.
Yeah, man.
I made some new relationships. You know what I'm saying? So let me go try it again somewhere else and do something else.
And that's real when people say, man, in a room, I probably have the most failures.
Yeah.
Because I've tried more. Even with me, Jeezy, I've thrown so many things up against the wall, and what stick is like, oh, okay, cool, cool.
But the thing about it is now you, again, if some young guy that you're mentoring comes to you and say, hey, big boy, I'm trying to do this and that, you can give him some real valuable information. Like, okay, one time I did it like this, but this what happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's just like, I didn't have no guidance in the streets when I was hustling and all that stuff. I had to figure it out myself. You know what I'm saying? I had to figure it out, because the only thing I didn't want to do is lose, which is getting killed, or go to prison. That was two things I promised myself. Okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to figure something else out. And after that, we'll figure something else out, right?
What about music pioneers? Did you have those? And I know you say you listen to Pac, things of that nature, but people that was hands-on as well.
Now, I talk about it in the book. So I had some older cousins that was really into music back then. They had some of the biggest people signed, from Another Bad Creation to Lil Zane to Jermaine Dupri.
Oh, so they were right there.
Yeah, but they was basically street guys who kind of had the money, and they was facilitating everything. And then I got to a point where I was in good with them, and we was all making money together. And I wanted to do what they was doing, which was music. but then they was getting me to give them all my money, and it wasn't, it wasn't like, oh, it costs $100,000 to do this, it costs $50,000 to do that, and I'm just doing it because I'm like, these are my people, so yeah, whatever. And then I got to a point where I just, you call it bankrupt, but I call it I was broke.
Yeah, there was no bank.
I was dead ass broke. And then my artist went to prison because at the time I wasn't rapping. I had artists.
Right.
So one of my artists went to prison. He did like 20, 25 years. The other one got locked up for something, and the other one just lost he just was gone. And I'm sitting in the studio that I paid for with no artist. And I'm like, I gotta do it. I'm living the life. So I got to do it.
Had you always been, did you grow up with music?
Yeah, I love music.
So you always loved music, but you thinking of, the CEO, the top, I don't touch the mic.
I wanted to be Baby.
Yeah, right.
I wanted to be Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? I had the Rolexes and the Lex. I had everything to prove it, but
just didn't have the music catalog.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got into it and I just started. I kept doing it.
So are you writing at this time?
Yeah.
And you just writing what's dear to you, what's close to you.
So I'm gonna tell you this. This is how I got started when I knew I could write. So I was living in Japan.
What took you to Japan or Hawaii?
My dad was in the military.
In the service? Okay.
Yeah. And before him and mom got divorced and I had to move back to the hood. And there was this girl that was in my class. She was Filipino. And she would never look at me, so I would just write poems and leave them on her desk every day. And over time, she started to come talk to me and stuff. And I started to realize
how old are you around this time?
I'm about 9.
All right, so you're seeing how powerful words are.
Right. So I always knew that I had the gift of gab if I sit down and I can write. So now I'm in the studio and I got that same passion for the music. So I'm sitting
When you're
there.
9, though, and I don't mean to cut you off, but when you're 9 and you're writing to your schoolmate, right?
Right.
Do you continue to write, or do you, once you get in a position, do you look back and say, damn, yeah?
No, well, I didn't continue to write, but I started to take another love for music, which is like the Ghetto Boys and all that. And in my head, I can recite anything if I heard it the first time. So I understood their power, their words too, by when I was writing. So when it got time for me to be in the studio, I would sit there and I'd be like, okay, I've been here before. I know how to say clever things, so I would just write and start writing stuff. And quite naturally, nobody was on it back then.
Right.
It wasn't it.
Man, so you a writer or an artist almost by default?
Yes. If you give me a pad and a pen, I can change lives.
Damn.
If we just sit here like,
and
tell me how you feel.
believe somebody else was that person, and then when life happens with people going to prison, somebody else just going away,
right?
You like, okay, it's on me now.
Well, I didn't have a choice because I couldn't fund anything else. Right. So now I got a studio and nothing but time.
So what do you tell people I'm an artist now, or people like, oh, now you rapping?
I never took. And that was the thing. Like you're not gonna get me in no room and throw on no beat and tell me to freestyle. Right. Ain't nothing free. Ain't nothing free in this game but free throws. Like I can't. You know what I'm saying? But if you give me some sonically and give me 10, 20 minutes, I could put together words that are so beautiful like you wouldn't believe it. That's just my gift. Like, that's something I'm really good at. That's my thing. And even when I sit down and write, that's why I was one of the most prolific writers of my generation, because I actually wrote. Like people didn't write songs for me. Like when I wrote, I love it. Like that's how I felt. That was my journaling, if you will. That's why Thug Motivation was so real. I was journaling. That's why Trap or Die.
Did it feel like it was writing itself sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you were writing many novels.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was telling the story how I saw it, right? With all the colors and all the things that were happening, the pain, the frustration, the this, the that. But it was like I was loving writing this, because now I get to write it, I get to record it, and when people hear it, they feel how I felt, right? And that's why, and growing up listening and studying Pac, thug life to him was more than just being a thug. It was it was like a movement. So when I had my opportunity, that's why Thug Motivation 101, I wanted to do it like a class. Like I wanted to motivate people, but in these different steps, in these different songs with chapters. And that's how I was writing the records. I was like, okay, this and that, and I'm just going through the things. So when you get done, this is a whole class I want to motivate the people that are demonized and that don't get the type of love they should have. And I want to tell them, you can do this, because I'm going to do it too. because I hadn't done it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, we get there together.
We get it together.
When I look at Adversity for Sale, you got to believe, right? Why is there a reason why you didn't call the book Thug Motivation?
Mm-hmm. Because I think it's bigger than that. I think that Thug Motivation was, it was sonically for the times.
Mm-hmm.
This is overall. This is, man, you wouldn't believe the type of things that happen. And by the way, I'm gonna sell it to you, right? But you gotta believe if you're gonna pass this test, right? You gotta believe in you. You have to be your biggest fan. You have to be your biggest supporter. You have to be your biggest crutch, because there's gonna come some times that some things are gonna knock you on your knees, and you gonna have to deal with that.
Do you ever think we don't want to hear it from us?
I think that if you write it in a way that's horrific, they'll accept it, right? But if you write it in a way that's victorious, it sounds like you just basically telling everybody I did it, and now you gotta do it. But it's more so like, nah, like this is when I read, Think and Grow Rich, I have to reread it because there's so many gems in there that apply to my life. I'm a street guy turned entrepreneur artist, but there's things that apply to me in there, right? So I take bits and pieces of that information when I need it, and then I understand what I'm going through. And I think with Adversity for Sale, it's the same thing, because it's almost like you're making something out of nothing. So you got to expect certain things to happen that you can't just go to your homie or your mom and be like, yo, I put all my money in this and now I'm broke. What do I do? They're like, yo, go get a job.
Right, yeah.
But I'm not.
You got to do.
You got to do. So, but I didn't go get a job. I went and took penitentiary chances, but I promised myself I wasn't going to get caught up. This ain't going to be my end all be all. So I got to be very safe, which means I have to be very disciplined. Now I can't smoke weed. Right. I can't really drink. Right. Because now I got to make sure I'm saying the right things.
Can't party in the party.
Yeah. And I got to be discreet. Mm-hmm. So a lot of things that confusing with me when people try to figure my stuff out, I had a plan. Like I wasn't just doing that to stack money. The money was, I was investing in myself. I didn't know what investing was, but I was investing in myself then. You see what I'm saying? So it's like everything I got, I put it back in me, which was trying to build my career, which was trying to build, I was marketing. I had a big Jeezy necklace on, the Jeezy jerseys everywhere I went.
And we know the name.
Right. And I'm marketing myself, and I'm like, hold up. Now, snowman thing. Oh, yeah, This is it. This is you know what I mean? So now I'm building this because now I'm branding. Right, and me and Master P got the biggest biggest logos in hip hop.
Right, yeah.
The Tank and the Snowman is the biggest. Like you see any one of those, you know what it is. And I was marketing, so when I was going to the strip clubs with everybody spending, $200,000-$300,000, it looked ignorant, but not to me, because Magic City was the mecca of black music. So now you got all these people in here to see this street guy that's a rapper at the time throwing all this money with his homies. And it looks like a movie, and it's going like, oh, man, I was in Atlanta. Boy, Jeezy came in there. Man,
so that's your marketing budget.
That's my marketing budget.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the only thing is we didn't have, we didn't have Instagram and all these things then, so it was real. And then a lot of people don't even realize, like, I would go as far as to, like, press up 200,000-300,000. When I did my first mixtape, which was Streets is Watching, shout out to DJ Drama, I pressed up like 150,000 mixtapes. Took them to this club on the east side, passed them out every weekend until they booked me for my first show for $200, right?
Damn.
And then I went and
You spent how much?
I probably spent about $500,000.
To get your first show.
Which was $200. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So then after that, I did Trap or Die, and I'm like, yo, Drum, I want to do this tape. I'm going to press up 500,000. We're going to take it to Miami. We're going to take it here. We're going to take it there. But this is what I'm going to do, because a lot of people were starting to like the music, but they didn't know what I looked like. So I took all the footage that I had, and I made a DVD. So Trap or Die came out with the project and the DVD. Mind you, I'm giving all this away for free.
Yeah.
Right? Best decision I ever made. You know what I'm saying? Because that solidified what I was doing, and that got me like a core audience that I would have never had, because I'm giving this to them, and now they putting their friends on. You heard this new G? You can't even get out the store. You gotta be in the hood.
When it worked, it's genius.
It's genius.
Yeah.
And it was so
It had
crazy.
to be people next to you like, man, what are we spending this money? And it's always we.
It was
What
crazy.
are we spending this money on?
It was so crazy because everybody thought I was crazy, but I just had this vision. I was like, if I could just get the mute, and that's why the writing was so real, because I was like, I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be an open book, and I'm going to say what I feel. And that's why it resonated so well, because it was a soundtrack to what was really going on in the streets at the time, which was my expertise. Because now I take in what I feel, and I'm able to put it in words, right? And so now people are riding around listening to this because it's real. And then how I really knew it was real, I started going to like some of my homies' trap spots or whatever. You know, you go in the trap spot, they got the flat screen up or whatever. You know, I'm in a few spots and they watching Trap or Die DVD. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not, you know, in my mind, I'm like, y'all know me. Why y'all watching this? Like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I never knew this was going on.
When did you know you turned a corner where you can almost release one foot out of here? You know what I'm saying? When did you know you turned a corner as an artist?
I'm going to say this. I knew that I was on to something when Trap or Die came out, because I'll be riding through the hood and everybody be like, yo, it's crazy. But I went through so much survivor's remorse from the initial like introduction all the way up into the recession.
And briefly, when you say, you know, survivor's remorse, for somebody that don't know,
right?
Nutshell that for
Okay, so nutshell, survivor's remorse is I'm starting to be successful, and everything around me is starting to be toxic, right? And I got to figure, I want to bring it with me because I feel like it's my obligation to keep it real with the people who kept it real with me, right? And I'm trying to do that, right?
Yeah.
And the craziest thing was from Trap or Die, I say Streets is Watching Trap or Die, all the way up to TN 103, you know, I was depressed. I was going through so much mentally because I was preparing to go to prison. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody started getting indicted. I'm like, they coming. So the only thing I could do is go write this music.
You felt destined.
Yeah, because I already know. So I'm preparing for it mentally. I'm in my mind, I'm thinking about what I need to do.
You had locked yourself up way before, huh?
Yep, 1,000%. And I'll never forget, I was going through this breakup and you know, I was just like, yo, and you know what it is too. And I was just like, yo, you know, I'm not rocking with you no more, whatever. And I just went and locked myself in the studio, right? And I wrote The Recession, the whole album. My President is Black.
Oh my
put
God.
on everything. And it was the best body of work I ever did because I did it by myself.
Turned it off,
put the cars up, the jury up, and I just locked myself in this studio. And I was like, I'm not coming out of here until I come out of here with what I came for.
Did you know that was gonna feel different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different,
it felt different then?
It was a different focus. And when I came out of it, and the album came out, it was, because this is when I started reading then, and I was like 260, because I was Champagne, Waffle House, all that. But now I had been working out while I was doing working on the album. So now I'm lost 60 pounds on my own, because I'm drinking water, I'm eating right. I mean, so now I look like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I look fresh, rejuvenated. Nobody had saw me. And The Recession came out, and I never forget I had a show in Boston. And if you ever been to a Jeezy show back then, like when you go, it's all the killers and the dealers and the robbers and the gangsters in the front row.
Yeah.
That's what you see. When I get to this show in Boston, it's all women in the front row. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They scream, oh my God, Jeezy.
You like going back out, look at the marquee. Right. Man, go look at the marquee real quick.
And I
turned the corner, huh?
I never forget it. I came out there, I was in 2 songs in, and I saw them throwing stuff, and I'm like, damn, what the hell they throwing at me? Like, and my man said, look, I looked down, it was bras.
Yeah, so now you a sex
symbol, right?
Yeah.
And I'm healthy.
Right.
And I'm happy. And that was the first time in my career that I felt like a star.
Damn.
Anytime before that.
All that success before that.
No, I didn't feel like a star. I was on eggshells. I knew anytime it was going to be over. I was drinking out of my mind. I was smoking. I was paranoid. I was all the things.
Just getting through it.
Just getting through it. And I couldn't really trust, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like I was trying to figure it all out.
Oh, my God,
and that was the first time I woke up. And when that hit me, it was like, it was a whole new energy. Because I would do, like if I was doing an interview right now back then, I'd be depressed. I'd be like, what's going on? You know, everything's straight. You know what I'm saying? I'm just living, maintaining.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. You know, so it was like a lot of defensiveness going on because, you know, I'm trying to get people off my tail to know that I'm going through these things. But that was the first time because my head was clear. I was sober. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a plan. I started, you know, and then My President is Black came out, man. And it was like, you know what I mean? Like,
do you feel at that time like, man, I want more of what this feels like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because up until then, when I started to separate myself from a lot of things that was going on with me, it wasn't easy. It wasn't like I just walked. Like I went through some things in the streets.
And that's scary too, though.
Yeah, I went through some things in the streets. Like I went through some things. Like it was what they say. It was up there.
Right. From people trying to keep you in and pull you in, or just
keep me in. People who I felt like I was really, that I could really trust. And I used to tell myself, if somebody tell you they love you in the club, they won't kill you. You know what I'm saying? They tell, I love you, man. We like that means the exact opposite.
Hey, man, somebody got to be real close to stab you.
Right. And you don't know if they're gonna stab you from the back or the front.
Yeah.
So I was just going through so many things, but that was the first time I was like, you know what? God got me. I'm great at this. I'm gonna do what I do. And right after that, I dropped the recession. Jay-Z called me. He was like, yo, I'm going on this tour. I want you to come with me. Woo. I'm like, what? So now I'm on the Blueprint 3 tour.
Yeah.
And things are just starting to happen, and I'm just in this space, and I'm going to do these shows, and it's just different because it was just all gangsters and everybody at my shows, and now all these women are coming and they loving my music, and like it was an explosion.
It's crazy how we can mess it up for ourselves,
right?
Or an outside influence can mess it up for ourselves. And it was probably like the dude that said, "Man, I had a deal, but I couldn't get around your people." Yeah, there was probably other people that looked and was like, I can't mess with them.
No, it was like that. I used to show up, 100 deep, and people be like, I was getting kicked out of hotels.
Oh yeah,
and it was just, and don't get me wrong, like I love love.
And that was a moment too, though.
Yeah, I love love, but then you can't just take everybody on the field with you.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
No matter how great of a player you are.
Yeah.
The team owner is not gonna let you do it. The coach is not going to let you do it. The organization is not going to let you bring everybody on the field.
It's just where we are. Everybody want to be where you are.
Right.
And it's all and it's crazy because you could be in a position where they're like, hey, Jeezy need another bottle over here. Like, no, I don't. But you know what I'm saying? But
no, it was that.
Everybody else.
And then what was going on too was just like I just started to understand that everybody's situation was my situation. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like if somebody's behind their child support, somebody got to pay some medical bills.
The enabler, bro.
Yeah, and it's like, where I'm coming from, that's the real thing to do.
And then you saving everybody, man. If they don't come here, who can they go to?
Right.
Then, maybe I got the success because this is what I'm supposed to do.
And then what happened, it really kind of let me know, like, and I didn't really like to let a lot of people know was I was doing a show in Jacksonville for the Super Bowl, right? And I had been on the road the whole time because, of course, I don't, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, I'm not healthy, right? And I'm doing this show, and some type of way I was trying to yell because the sound system was bad, and I tore my vocal cords, right? So now I'm going back to Atlanta, and I can't talk. But I don't want to tell nobody
right.
I can't talk because that's
like this is what the money maker.
Right. So then now I get back to Atlanta, and I call my guy. He takes me to the emergency room, whatever. They tell me what I need to do, and now I got to go in and have this surgery. But I don't have any insurance.
Oh wow!
So now I got to pay for it with a brown paper bag.
Wow.
And that was another indicator that I wasn't living right. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't got insurance. I got all these cars. Yeah, I got all these cars, all this jewelry. I ain't got no insurance. You know what I'm saying? So, because I'm like, I don't need it. I'm healthy.
Right. Yeah, yeah. We're not going to get sick.
Right.
Yeah, man.
So I don't got any insurance. And then we do the...
Did you have insurance on the cars?
I did.
That's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Like, man, I don't want this car to get messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
With me, I'll be all right.
Because you have to. Yeah.
And then I had to go get a surgery, and the label found out about it, and they was all scared that I was going to sound different because naturally my voice is raspy.
It was the polyp, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man. And with polyp surgery, too, because I had to have I grew polyps, but I was able to dissolve them.
Oh, wow.
When they don't know what your voice going to sound like when you come out. I don't know what it is now, but there ain't no guarantee.
Yeah, and that's what they're telling me. So I had to get with this vocal coach, right? And her name was Jan. Shout out to Jan. And Jan was like, I used to have to go to her studio, and I think she worked with like Usher, Justin Bieber, and all these guys. And she would have me do all these fa la la la,
right?
All these like you know what I'm saying?
La, la, la.
Right, all that, right?
You lay
try to
low,
get my voice back. And
did it feel ridiculous?
One time I was in there and I was doing it, and she was playing on the piano while I was doing it. And a brother walked in that was with UPS. He walked in, saw me doing that. He dropped the package. Boom. He's like, "What the hell?" Right.
Like, you working on something?
Right.
Yeah.
And I would get to the house, and mind you, I had my whole neighborhood living in my house, and I would be at the house, and I would have to do it while I'm in the shower. I have to sing and fa la la, and I used to be like so shook. They're gonna walk past my room and just hear me up there, and
just healing yourself though. You didn't want. You was too embarrassed to heal yourself.
Yeah, I was embarrassed, bro.
Damn,
I was embarrassed because he had gave me some CDs, and you would play them, and you had to repeat what they're saying.
And this crazy, you can't even hand that to the homie and say, "Hey man, you go do it." That show you also everything is on you.
Yeah.
It's not like thinking.
And the crazy thing is, like, I don't think people understand that type of pressure, right? Because people will be with you and be like, "Yeah, man, everything all good." It's not on you though, bro.
Right.
I gotta figure this out every month.
Yeah.
I gotta figure this out every day.
And you already know anytime y'all go to eat.
Right, it's on me.
Yeah,
and then we eating cheap.
Right.
I like to fine dine, so that means we all got to fine dine.
And when somebody else pays, you get adventurous too. You're like, I try to frog eggs.
See that? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess.
I never had salamander before.
Yeah. Bring another one over, man. What is this? Cajun salamander. Right. I would definitely do that.
Right,
man.
And it just it ain't like again, you're not a doctor, you're not a lawyer, you're not an athlete, so none of this stuff is guaranteed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like tomorrow can be all gone because you're only as good as your last hit.
Yeah, man.
Right, and which was one of the reasons why I totally leaned into business because I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that ain't.
And Jeezy, we are so fickle, bro. We love you today and hate you tonight.
Hate you tomorrow. Tell me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And your album not even out and it's whack.
It's whack.
Yeah. And then when it drop,
double wood.
when is the next one come? Like, man, I just put that out. Right. Oh, he needed.
Right. You gotta go back in.
Yeah, the judge and jury, man.
Yeah.
And the court of public opinion is crazy when it comes.
And it's real. It's like that's why I lean so much into and a lot. Like when I lost a lot. When I went through the thing that happened at the Wiz Khalifa concert and we got locked up and everything, like I lost a lot of deals that I had on the table. Right. And I called my business partner. I said, "Look, man, we're never doing another deal ever with my likeness if I don't have equity in it, because I don't ever want to be in a position where they can take what I'm building because I did something and they feel like that I shouldn't have that anymore." And I had all these situations on the table that was very lucrative. I lost a lot of money, right? And then I even lost money fighting the civil suits for something that they let me out of court, that I won in court. But then the civil suits came. You know what I'm saying? I had to fight that for years, right? But I'm just like, I lost so much in that experience. Of course, I made it back 10 times over, but it just in that moment of adversity, the message that I got out of that, and my spirit was telling me that was, you gotta own. You gotta have skin in the game. Like you can't just let these people pay you for your likeness. You've been through too much. You gotta know your worth. So one of my first deals was the Avion tequila deal. Shout out to Ken Austin. And I came in and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna pay you this to say this, like, say it in the car." I said, "No, I said, "When are you planning to sell?" He said, "In 5 years." I said, "Well, pay me then. I need equity." And we built it up and we sold it to Pernod Ricard, which was one of the biggest situations, I did outside of music. And that changed my life.
Hey man, it's crazy when you were thinking about the tuition into the school of experience that you had to pay.
Yes.
And then saying, okay, well, now I totally understand what I need to do from here.
Yeah, because it's always those life-changing moments where you in that dungeon by yourself and you got to dig yourself out of that, that you get inspired, but then you also gain the knowledge, right? Like they say, you never met a skilled sailor on a calm sea. Like you just, it's like going to the gym. You got to break these muscles down for them to be stronger, right? And it's just like everything that's supposed to hurt you is really the data that you need to make it to the next level. Because if it was just easy and everybody can do it, you won't learn anything. And I wouldn't have learned ownership if I didn't lose all that.
Right.
I would have been cool.
From the losses.
Yeah, I would have been cool with whatever they was giving me because it's like I ain't, I don't need no skin in the game. But now I got to take a risk myself. And even with like Defiance Fuel, this is my water, and just all the other businesses I got, it's all equity, right? It's all equity. Even when I buy buildings, it's like the equity is in the buildings.
Yeah.
Like nobody can tell. And I grew up in a 2-bedroom trailer. It's smaller than this. Me, my mom, my sister. The one thing I wanted, it was to have something on this God green earth that's mine, right? And it's gonna be here for my kids. And it's just like, they can't take my land. They can't take my property.
Right.
So it's just like, I believe in ownership, and I believe that if you're out here and you're working and you're risking it and you're away from your family, you're doing what you got to do, you have to own something. Because if these people get up tomorrow and they want to fire you, these people get up tomorrow, they want somebody else for the job, they can do that.
Yeah.
And they almost wanted somebody else for my job. Yeah. And I'm Jeezy.
We'll find another.
Right.
When you look at hip hop today,
right.
you know what I'm saying? And we look at social media, the influence that we have around the world.
Right.
Do you look at hip hop today, and especially on the younger end, are you concerned with them as far as like, man, learn it?
Yeah.
Yeah, learn it, man. Like I want you to have longevity.
Well, the thing is this: it's two things. I mean, of course, this generation is more dangerous than it's ever been, as far as just the lifespan.
Yeah,
man. A lot of these guys are, leaving here young.
Yeah,
right?
man.
But the other thing I see, it's hard to tell somebody who finally got some type of success or suggest to them what they can do with the success they got.
Right.
Because it's almost like, yeah, you trying to tell me how to be a man.
Right.
I made it this far. I don't need you for that. But the thing I can say is in this generation is they figured out a way to get, it's like the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Michael Jordan was one of the greatest basketball players to ever walk. And he got brand Jordan and all that's going. But if you look at what LeBron James is doing, he's basically the only athlete that's a sports agent and a movie producer and a and that and this and a global brand. So he's doing it on a whole nother level, right? And the way I see them, they're doing it on a whole nother level. They know how to go. They know how to go out here and build. Because we had to buy CDs, hundreds of thousands. They could push one button and upload, right, and reach the world. So it's global.
Send it around the world.
So the money that they're getting is way different from the money that we was getting. So if you're getting that type of money, you know what I'm saying, I was like, they're getting some real money, right? And if you don't have somebody to tell you, oh yeah, you can splurge and do your thing, but why don't you take this, put it over here, right? So in 10 years, if you need it, it's already accumulated this for you, and you set up for the rest of your life, right? Because the faster you get money, the faster you're going to spend it, and you're just buying stuff to keep up with what's going on, right?
And I always think, man, even when, younger days, you do feel like it's going to last forever.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that will dry up.
You don't even see, like, I wasn't even looking at 5 years, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll
tell you what make you look at 5 years, though. When you sitting in that, you getting out that bed in the morning, and you tired.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you're going to make it through this or not. And you got to do this because you got kids.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to go in here and write some hits.
Has that changed your hustle within the last couple years too, though?
Well, it changed my long end game, right? Because,
because how old is your little one now? Your baby?
She's almost 2.
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, you gotta. It's a whole different paradise. You gotta.
And
gotta
at the same time, like I wasn't a trust fund kid, but I'm gonna make sure they have that, right? And then I didn't get, nobody left me with anything, so I'm gonna make sure they have that right.
Right.
But then also I'm gonna set it up to where they understand financial literacy, so they understand why it's best to save this and not spend that, and why it's best to do this and not do that. But for the main part, for me, it's giving them the opportunity, right, to find out who they are with some type of support that's being left there through, and they call that generational wealth.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And of course, I don't want my kids to be spoiled, because that, you can see kids that get trust funds, they lose their mind.
Yeah, they know it's over there.
They on fitting all type. You're like, whoa, what's going on?
They know it's over there.
Right. But I just feel like, as men, we got to at least, do our due diligence to have some type of something that they can stand on, right? Because I had none of that. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no help. Nobody was coming to save me, none of that. And it was just like, I got to really figure this out. And I got a long way to go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I got a long way to go. And I'm still learning every day. But I do, like when I think about my 10, 15-year plan, I'm acquiring things, but I'm thinking about them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's definitely a different mindset.
Yeah.
As opposed to when we would think about, the such and such have a ticket, make sure the such and such get on the tour bus.
Right.
Yeah.
And
totally different.
Or when the new Lamborghini driving, I gotta get that. It's like, and I don't even have, You know, and that just, you know, me, I don't even have a passion for those type of things no more.
It's crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. Like you know, I'd rather go play golf.
Yeah.
It's crazy, it's weird.
Hey man, The Arrival is a mother effer, huh?
Right.
The Arrival, like man, I am
Jeezy
here
on the golf course. You know what I'm saying?
No, you damn right you did.
I mean, but to me, it's a school.
Yeah, man. What do you learn here?
It's so
plus,
much knowledge.
You learned a lot on the block. Right. You learned, you know what I'm saying?
But
now
this is the new block.
Exactly.
Because you out here with these guys, you do 18 holes.
Yeah.
You get to know them.
Yeah,
There's some deals on the table. They might just be like, hey, man, you know, I'm going to introduce you to such and such. I'm going to have them come next time with us.
Did anybody tell you I didn't know you wanted that? Like, oh, man, I didn't know.
I didn't know I wanted that.
Right. Yeah, like nobody had to tell me.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know I wanted that. But then when I started to put myself in a position where I didn't have to work as hard because I was doing the right things, now I got free time. And it's like, what do I do? Like, you know, I want to try this. I want to try that. I want to box. I want to jiu-jitsu. I want to do this. These are things that I always wanted to do, but now I finally got the time. And like for me, it's just like, you know, people might look at it crazy, but you know, throwing on some cool clothes and grabbing your clubs and getting your music and your cigars and your non-cognac. That's what I want to do on a Sunday. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's cool.
Hey man, who believed in you when you didn't?
Man, I say my sister. And my guy, he's been my business partner for like the last 20 years.
They saw something bigger, better, different, everything.
Even when I tried to back away from things, he's like, man, you can do it. I know you can.
Did you fight it a lot too?
Yeah.
Fight the change?
Yeah,
change
because
resistant?
I was you know, I like, you know, for the longest, bro, I got to be honest, like, I didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't feel like I accomplished enough to, you know, do certain things. I always, you know, it was a time where, you know, I was, you know, I'm got a street guy. I'm finally coming up. I'm getting in the rap game. And when I finally get in the rap game, I'm hanging out with Tip. He doing movies with Denzel Washington.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm like, he light-skinned. That's where he always get him.
Yeah. Light-skinned always get a break.
You know, I'm looking at
But T.I. gave you a bar early on too, right?
Yes. T.I. came to Patchwork Studios when I was working on Trap or Die. And this when I was, and I think I was working on Thug Motivation.
And I'm not even talking about a music bar. I'm talking about a life bar.
Yeah. He came to the studio, and what it was I was basically hustling out of the studio. Because that was a safe zone for me. It was a building, it was an establishment, it had a gate, you couldn't get in it. You know what I mean? And I was hustling. I was in there and I was getting to the money, but I was trying to record Thug Motivation 101. So I think one day he came through and I probably had a couple of M's in the booth where we used to count the paper at. And he came in there. He's like, "Hey man, let me talk to you. You know how Tip is. He's got them big words.
Let me talk to you. You
let me have a word with you. You know? I was like, all right. So we walk in there. We go into the bathroom, and you know, Tip, he go look under every stall to make sure nobody under there. He check the door. He's like, "Hey man, look." He said, "Man, you're really talented, bro." He said, "But you gotta choose one, cause you can't be hustling and trying to do music, because something's not gonna work out." And he said, I believe you can do it, bro, but you gotta let something go. And first thing I thought he was trying to trick me, because I'm like, you doing this too.
Right. Yeah. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, you get money
you trying
too.
to take something?
Right. That was my first mind. And when I seen he was sincere, I went home and I really thought about it. And I was just like, I was already paranoid. I was already like in my mind, like getting ready for it. And I just said, I woke up one day and I remember I had this Nextel phone, like the chirps and stuff. And that's what all my, you know, my people that I was getting busy with was on the phone. And I just woke up one morning and just threw the phone, threw it away. And people owed me money. You know what I mean? It was like I had money in the street that I just said, if I go pick the money up, I'm going to try to get into something else. And I kid you not, I did that based off the conversation we had. And about maybe like 6 to 8 months later, I used to wake up and have these nightmares when I was just like dripping in sweat, like and shook, that I went to try to go make a play in the middle of this and got caught.
Yeah, man.
And it's just like in my mind, I'm like, damn, I'm going to prison. That's all I kept thinking like the whole time. And it was hard. It was hard, bro, because it was like that was the only stability I had.
Yeah.
And I was somebody in that world, right? And now you trying to do music.
Right.
And the last thing you want to be is a guy that's getting money, that's trying to do music and you look corny.
We've seen that.
Right?
And then plus you felt like that was your identity.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
1000%. That's who I was. That's the people that depended on me, and I was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like you leaving, you know, radio to go do something. You great at radio.
Right. And we also get a position, man, where we feel like it's safe. You know, even if stuff is crazy,
it wasn't safe though.
But I don't mean safe as, but like this is what I know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know this. I'm well versed in this. I know this territory. Like,
and the life that I had got myself to accustomed living, I knew through those means I could live that life. Right. And the crazy thing is, I stayed in this condo behind Phipps Plaza, and when I was Mike Smith, which was my alias, so anybody you ever see me out there, which Mike Smith was my alias, I was living in this same apartment complex. Well, this apartments like some of the flyers condos that were in Atlanta at the time, right behind Phipps Plaza. I was staying in those condos under Mike Smith, but the person who got the condo for me played for the Braves because I couldn't get it in my own name, right?
Gotcha.
So now I'm paying somebody else, and then when I finally got my deal, you know what I'm saying, I had moved out of the condo because the ATF and Homeland Security was, you know, it got a little tricky over there. I moved out and moved to a house in Cascade, right, and which is like on the west side of Atlanta. And then when I got my deal, I moved back to the condo as Jay Jenkins. And it was like a relief.
Yeah, man.
Because this for the first time.
And a big accomplishment that probably sounds small.
I got my own place in my own name, and my credit was decent. And now, because before that, I used to go in through the garage.
Right.
Now I'm going in through the door,
Sight
man.
unseen.
Right. I'm going in through the door, man. How you doing, Mr. Jenkins? Hey, I'm good, man. Y'all can send
it's different. You can get pulled over. Different, like
I know it. So it was like that process for me. But you know, the reality of it was, you know what I'm saying, like I felt like I left a lot of myself when I did leave the streets because I did it cold turkey, right?
Yeah, man.
So even a lot of people that I was cool with, I couldn't hang out with them no more. Because I got a 50-50 chance to make it in the music industry. If I'm hanging out with you, I don't want to be under your indictment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We all hot, so I don't want to be in your case. You know what I'm saying? So now it's just like, now I got to figure out a new group of friends. And now I'm hanging around Tip, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now I'm hanging around Luda, and I'm trying to figure that out because I don't really know how to be a rapper yet. You know what I'm saying? Because
just learning that.
Yeah, it's new. You know, I watch Tip and see him do certain things, be like, okay, that's how you do it. So people come in the room, you can't be cool no more. You got to be cocky. You know, what's up with you? Well, you know what's happening. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing now because I went from being a street guy with discreet and was very over communicative. You know what I'm saying? Like I really like talk to people. To now you walk in the room, you got to be cool. Like you can't even be like talking to everybody. That take away from your star power. So now I'm learning this from these guys. And then when I got around Hove, it was a game changer.
Right.
I was like, man, why you don't talk?
Yeah.
What you talking for?
Hey, man, when you do get into the rooms with also with the Jay-Z's and the Kanye's and everything, man, is that an arrival moment for you? Or you felt like it was just like another step too?
Nah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I was fans of a lot of these people, so I had to take that in first. You know what I'm saying? Because I could. It's like being, you know, NFL, you know, you get in NFL, now you playing with the best, and you're like, oh, man, I'm on the field with this guy.
Yeah.
You know, you like, what's up, bro? But he want to kill you.
Yeah, like even as a rookie, you gotta trip off I'm playing against LeBron James.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Even on the opposing team, you want a picture with Kobe.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. So once I kind of got through that and then started seeing it, and like, like Kanye was like, I'll never forget, Kanye called me out of the blue one day. He's like, yo, what you doing? I was like, I'm at my mama's house. He's like, man, put her on the phone. I put my mom on the phone, and she was like, she gave me the phone back. He's like, come to Hawaii. I was like, for what? He's like, I need you to come out here for a minute. So I flew all the way to Hawaii, got out there with Kanye, and he had this chalkboard up, but it wasn't a chalkboard. It was like a board, and it had all the names of his songs.
Yeah, man.
And at the top of the board.
Like an eraser board?
Yep. And it had What Would Jeezy Do on the top of the board. And he was playing the songs, and then anything I didn't bob my head to, they didn't put a check by it. If I bobbed my head, they put a check by it. And that's when I was like, this is weird. You know what I'm saying? But then I started to understand that they respected the way I was coming from, right? And it would be like say for instance, when I gave Kanye, I gave him a song with me and Tip called
Oh my God, bro.
I Got Money.
Can you please explain this story, bro?
Yeah, so I gave Kanye this song to get on called I Got Money with me and Tip that was supposed to be on the Recession. Me and Tip done our verses. Kanye sent the song back. It's a totally different song.
Yeah, man. So were you trying to get Kanye on?
Yeah, we put him on the song. He's supposed to do a verse.
He sends it back and it has what?
He changed the whole beat. So now I'm like, bro, this is a whole different song. I can't do nothing with it. So I don't put Kanye on the Recession because of that.
Right.
So 6 months go by. He called me. I'm in L.A. He's like, yo, pull up on me at the studio. I pull up on him. He's like, yeah, you remember that song I was supposed to get on? I was like, yeah. And he played it for me. Wait till I get my money right.
Yeah, wait till I get my money right.
And I'm like, right. And I'm like, this is my song though.
Right.
So I'm like, and he said, the illest thing ever. This is how I knew Kanye was a genius. He said, you mind if I leave your ad-libs on it?
Yeah.
How you gonna tell Kanye no like right now? You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
When I get back to the hood and the song comes out, everybody call me, yo, this Kanye's. When you coming in though,
yeah, because you waiting on your verse.
Right.
Yeah. Hey man, what did Jay-Z tell you? Or didn't you tell Jay-Z the story of what happened with the song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and what happened was me and Kanye had a show in London.
Oh yeah.
And J and B came, and I went on at 9, so I had like 20,000 people. He went on at 10:30, 11. He had 80,000 people.
Right.
And me, Jay-Z, and Beyonce backstage watching the show, and he came out on Wait Till I Get My Money Right. And it was 80,000 people going, da, da, da. And Jay-Z looked at me, he just shook his head. He was like, man, what would you think?
You gave this away?
He's like, what were you thinking? And I was just like, man, I don't know.
Like, I didn't know.
But the thing that happened was, his mother passed, so he didn't do any records for anybody. And I called him out of the blue, and I said, yo, I got this record. It's called Put On. And I explained to him what Put On was. And he's like, all right, send it. So he called me back like 15 minutes later, rapping the verse on the phone. I'm like, yo, just put it down. He's like, I already did. I'm going to send it to you. He put it down. When I heard that, I still feel like the thing is that owe me check. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is out of here. And I remember I didn't even tell my homies. We was on the way out of town to go on the road. I took it to Greg Street.
Oh, man.
He played it like 100 times. And the whole Atlanta was losing it, bro. It was like the craziest thing ever. And we on the tour bus. It's like, you got Kanye West on the song. Like,
you damn right I do.
Yeah. And so he got me back there. So we even now.
Between those two records though,
right.
What were the homies saying then when you hear when they come they somewhere and going da da da? Because at some point people got to look at you like, man, what the hell?
I mean,
even with Jay-Z looking at you like,
yeah. I think what it was though that
they came full circle.
Yeah, it came full circle, but I think he saw what I didn't see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes him great in that space. I'm glad he did do what he did with the record, and it's crazy because I don't think a lot of people know that DJ Tupac had produced that, and he called me. He was like, "Yo, Kanye called me. He's like, who produced that song?" And I was like, DJ Tupac. He said, "Give me his number." I gave him DJ Tupac number,
right.
And that's how you got Big Brother and all those songs that's on there, right?
Oh my God!
And that's
so
how
the
that
relationship started
there, and Kanye did all that record with him, and then Jay-Z heard it, and then the sound, and then Jay-Z did a bunch of the records from American Gangster with Tupac because he just got that that sound. Yeah, that's how it worked.
It's supposed to work like that.
Yeah, it's supposed they need to throw it back, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They need to pass the ball.
Yeah, forget those. You can have these. Jeezy, definitely want to thank you for coming into the neighborhood, sir. Man. Adversity for Sale.
August
you gotta
8th.
believe. August 8th. Man, we're celebrating 50 years of hip-hop. We're celebrating turns and life and everything, brothers.
And you can pre-order the book anywhere right now. Books are sold. That's Audible, Amazon. Go ahead and get your pre-order copy. You won't be disappointed.
And see, I love to read because I love touching the pages.
Right.
And I think the only audio books I've listened to, I listened to a Kevin Hart audio book.
Okay.
Will Smith, I read and listened on audio.
Yep.
And I gotta hear your voice too.
Oh, yeah. So I read the audio book, by the way. So, just make sure you check your boy out. August 8th. Adversity for Sale in stores. You gotta believe anywhere books are sold, and you can pre-order right now.
There it is.
Shout out to Big Boy's Neighborhood for having me come through.
Man, thank you for being in the neighborhood, man.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? We don't see each other a lot, but it's always
we gotta
special.
Get up. We gotta get up.
Best believe that, man. Y'all continue to hang. Big Boy's Neighborhood.